everybody. Welcome back to another chart mastery session. I'm just kind of catching up with the streams, making sure that I am live. I see myself on TradingView, waiting for YouTube to catch up. This can be your standard chart mastery session. We're gonna cover BTC, Ether, S&P, QQQ, some other tickers. I'm gonna try to use the scanner a little bit more today, the Harmonics scanner, just in case we're missing something, and then some altcoins, right, or whatever you guys want to show me. Any tickers you want to show, you can go ahead and start thinking about them, start typing them in. Let me know who else in the chat. Say hi, drop a comment, just so you know I know who's with me. I'm gonna start off with BTC. Right? As of last stream, I was saying we need to look out for another retest of 44,759. For you guys in Discord, I haven't been really like trying to force a position on here. I did try to start a short prematurely, right? Like right here at the 61.8. I'm just gonna fix this real quick. I was recording some videos that will go up soon. And let's show prices. All right, fantastic. So I tried to fill a short over here, which I got stopped out, and then I saw this move up to the first test, right, of the 61.8 up here, and I didn't short it, even though we saw this dump. The second test, I watched the 61.8, and I saw the chart rally, and I just took a breather, and I said, hey, maybe we're gonna see a continuation, right? But evidently, this starting to look like a fake out, like a dead cat. I still don't want to jump in. I want a clean entry, right? Like, I don't know if you guys remember. Some of you guys might not remember. You were not with us back then, but we did. You know, I had a short before this big drop, and I basically let this chart play out. Right, I let this dump happen, and we took our shorts at 58,310 for the second to move down. So I want to let this play out a little bit longer before I take up any kind of leverage positioning, especially to the downside. Just want to see a cleaner 61.8 rejection. Tails, what's up? Good morning. Tails on the tube. What happens if you press Alt F4? How did you not catch the top? If I press Alt F4, my screen shuts down. Like you just go to my. I'm not gonna press Alt F4. All right. But you should try that on your PC. How did I not catch the double top? Well, I wouldn't quite call it a double top, because I don't want to like short a down candle, right? And didn't see a reason to fill up here. And I'm trying to position for like a big swing, right? Maybe I'm making excuses, but yeah, I didn't, because that would have gotten stopped out here on this move. And then where's the fib here to short, right? So if I don't have a clean entry, I'm not just gonna play with it. All right, so that covers BTC. In terms of where the next swing is, thinking if we get a failure. If you get a failure, we had the 50% here rejection, right? We're still holding above 38. So if you get up to 44,265 and then wick, that might be my late entry in case we swing down. Yeah, looking at Ether, it looked really good this morning, and then it kind of didn't look so good. Let's go to the daily, clean up this chart, remove all my drawings. Alright, so ETH is looking a little trickier than BTC, especially trying to get a 61.8. So if you're going to take this last high for a continuation, we did get closes above, right? So this kind of got me feeling good about it, and then, you know, rejected. And even that inside move, right, the smaller move, like this wasn't a 61.8, so it didn't give me quite the short signal that I wanted. No, I don't want to just get chopped out, right? It gets expensive. So at this point, 33,155, right? If we reject there, that's I'm gonna probably be more eager to take up a short position. Morning, Linvey. That's about it. Also, another thing to pay attention to, a lot of times when BTC comes out of a sell-off, right, it tends to enter a channel, right? We see these channels, remove drawings. All right, so we kind of see these ascending channels start developing, and getting chopped out in these gets really expensive, right? So even though CPI came out yesterday, Consumer Price Index came out, and inflation is up like 7%, and the Fed's probably going to taper more aggressively, right? And that's kind of what markets are scared of right now. We could potentially see some more upside, right? So if we see something like this start developing, then we definitely want to long support and just wait and be patient, right? Not just wait, long support and be patient, especially if we see something like that develop. Wouldn't be the first time we see a channel that's long worthy. Before a breakout here, we saw something similar, and I can't tell you how many people shorted this and kept shorting this and kept shorting this post-COVID crash, and yeah, so that's another scenario I'm looking out for, and I'm starting to monitor this on like a smaller time frame, right? And I had a bit of a channel drawn before the stream, and oh, that's not what we want. And you can say that's like permeable perspective, but we do want to be ready for anything, right? We can hedge. We can definitely hedge, right, and have a short at a swing high or a 61.8, and then long support, and just let the chart do its thing instead of just committing to one position, right, one side. Javier, Persifying, I don't cover FX. I don't. You can show me some tickers and I'll look at them, but I don't trade FX. I don't like pips, man. I don't do pips. All right, so that's what I'm seeing, right? If we get another move up, and I do think because of how far down this sell-off has extended, we could potentially see a bigger up move, right? Maybe back to like 53, and that could still be in bull trap territory potentially. All right, let's look at indices. That'll give us a better idea of what could happen in terms of risk on, risk off type move. We saw that we had some UPRO calls, sold them at the high, right, which would be like S&P calls, basically just cheaper, and we had our bear 61.8. We had that move develop. Part of me still thinks we're going to 786, right, unless we reject here a third time. If we reject here a third time, then it wouldn't look so good. We do see a range developing, right? Definitely have a range developing on the ES or S&P. We have resistance and support. So we are starting to see some channels forming. Too soon to call this an ascending triangle. Way too soon to do that. More importantly, what's going on in these inside moves? Let's take a look. So yesterday, I kind of got excited to get back into calls. Now I'm thinking we could go down to 4,400, right? So if you go look at S&P or SPY, we could pull back a little more and essentially remain bullish, right? One thing I didn't mention on the daily chart is we want to see this long-term fib extension up at 448 hold, right, for the weekly. Because that would be a 448 retest, and then further downside would look really, really bad. But once again, we could be channeling, right? You could be doing something like what I'm not projecting, but sort of looking out for on BTC, where we develop some kind of parallel channel where it's real choppy, and only, unless you're really good at scalping, only people that buy and hold through the chop survive. But more importantly, before we get too optimistic, I like remaining objective, right? And looking at where we rejected, and that's the 61.8. That's that red line. That's at 457. So we do need to get above that, right? And it is kind of looking like an ascending triangle. Let's see what we get. Let's see how the day unfolds. Let's see how the day finishes. Once again, it's looking ready to short the 61.8 bounce yesterday at 452, but we gapped above it, and I said, hey, that looks good. I'm expecting chop. Right, it's been choppy. Thoughts on L1, Sol, ADA, Matic, much appreciated. I will cover those, Javier. Let me cover NQ, and then we'll hop in. Right, now the reason I think the S&P's headed higher is because the current retracement on the QQQ, it looks incomplete. A lot of tech is beat down. Right, like Facebook's down to a punch, PayPal's down, and I do think there's a lot of room for buyers to come in, right? Like sideline money to come in and try to push those charts up for us, right? And looking at the QQQ, it's holding at the 50, right? It held at the 61.8, and it held at the 53 times. So I'd like to see another turn here today, and possibly a retest of 15,598. All right, looking at some of the requested charts, SOL. You guys know what the acronym for SOL is, right? Or what SOL stands for in terms of acronym, right? Shit out of luck. When I've been covering this chart, not quite extensively, but every other stream somebody asked about, and I said, hey, like 243 is looking like resistance. Looking at these targets, right? I think another test to 93, and I'd probably want a long, right? If it holds, if there's good volume coming in, I'd probably want a long. Are we going to get there? Maybe, maybe not. More importantly, what are we doing in terms of that last continuation? Minor swing. It's holding at the 61.8, holding at 104. So I think the level above 93 is 104. Another test of that. And if you get good buying volume, some good bullish engulfing candles happening, something like this, a good rejection, that might be an indication that Sol's going to turn up. You guys, for coverage your chart, smash that like button. If you want me to cover other charts, smash that like button. Show me some tickers. ADA, man, I'm not an ADA fan at all. I think it's a cult. Definitely a bit of a cult following on ADA. A lot of people that got into crypto this year, like youngins, are like ADA. Let's stay objective though. Market doesn't care about my opinion on a project. Is this a descending broadening wedge? I don't think so. What about these last two highs? I mean, I think I see something. I don't want to force it though. Possible descending broadening, right? Possible. If 99 gets tested again, so if you get another like savage move down and 99 get tested, I'd probably want to long it. And I'd probably want to short 1.3. We want to see that resistance there, right? Because this chart has ranged here before, right? And if you look at like some of these previous closes, we're right above 103, and here we saw rejection at 103. So I would look out for that. Matic's looking decent. You guys get ready for another round of tickers. The more tickers you show, the longer I'm on stream, the less tickers you show. That's when I call it a day. So Matic looks fairly interesting. 1.378 holding. Right, if we extend our fib a little bit more to encompass the bigger move. And we do get 2.37. At this point, I'd say this 61.8 is complete. Right? I did have an intraday trade from 1.89 to $2. And that was a solid profit take. I should have flipped short here at this 61.8. So I think if Matic breaks down here, it could, right? So if we don't get above 1.89, then I'd say assume bearish continuation until it's not, right? Until like we get the close above $2. Just like here, we always say that, right? You always assume like bearish continuation if the trend was actually bearish, especially if you get like 61.8 continuations, so 2.3. Then we have this 2.3 is a new high, right? And bring it down 2.0 and so forth. What about, support? Like, where's the next bounce? Where's the next dead cat? Or are we gonna get one? I would go off this major swing, and it'd probably be back at like 1.472, right? So if 495 actually, and if this holds, right, if we get another test here and this holds, this would be a long territory. This would be, I'd call this support and that resistance, and just until they're not. All right, I want to look at Tesla. Tesla did something really interesting. I did call this out on Twitter right at bottom. Right, I posted literally. I went like this: swing low, swing high, and right when I hit 808 and we saw that volume come in, right, boom, that candle was very indicative that we were going to see bottom. And then the following move was also 61.8. So start looking out for things like this playing out on things that are selling off at 61.8s, where you see a red line hold on a big time frame, and then that smaller move within it at the red line does the same thing, right? And this happens in verse 2, like to the downside. All right, I'm going to look behind me, get some ticker ideas. You guys got some tickers for me, please type them in the chat. And yeah, you just get some ticker ideas. Facebook. Facebook's doing something interesting. It looks just like what we're seeing on Tesla now, potentially. The problem here is you got such a big move, right? So I mean, at this point, we're gonna chart COVID low for our 61.8 and prices below it, and I'd be hesitant to go, like a December low. Maybe I shouldn't be hesitant, right? So I think if we get another up move here, right? So if I might be bottoming. Let's see what happens at 223. I might want to play some calls going into next week on this one. And like close to the money calls. Right, let's see what happens at 223. Second time around. If you got bulls coming in here, I'd wanna, if you get kind of like what we saw on Tesla, right? That would be a good move. All right, let me cover Apple. After Apple, I'm gonna go back to indices, and I'm gonna run the Harmonics scanner on them. So I was looking at Apple, and it's doing a 786, and it's definitely range trading, right? Geez, I don't want to do that. Definitely range trading. Remove drawings. Let's look at the daily. Really important on something like Apple now is, where is the bearish 61.8? Well, we just opened at it and we're below it, right? And on the daily chart, I'm not going to say this is a bear trap, but it's not looking amazing for bulls. All right, especially when you have this open below the closing trend line. At this point, I'm not going to say what I want to say until shortly afterwards, right? So here, what we had on Apple previously was 61.8 bullish retrace, right? This sell-off down to the red line, which is what we saw on Tesla last week, which is what we're possibly seeing on Facebook right now. I think a continuation move after something like this, if we do get a move down on Apple, I wouldn't want to counter trade it until 163. But that's just gonna, I mean, that could push the market really low. So I don't know. I'm hesitant to make that call. I think 165 would be safe, right? Because that'd just be like a 50% retracement. And if it does hold, that means it's really bullish, and we probably continue in a blow-off territory. And I think Apple has maintained its trend lines totally, right? I hadn't even tested that trend line on the daily. That covers Apple. Let's go back to indices. Use the scanner. I haven't really popped it up in a while. We built it. We have it. I might as well show it. Use it. Bam. Look at that. Picked up a bullish 0.80 at the bottom. Picked up a bearish 50 at the top on the daily. That is intense. Alright, so here we have our bearish 5.0. And what about intraday? Let's look at the 4 hour. I'm not seeing anything super valid. 30-minute. 4 point. 15. I'm not going to go smaller than 5. All right, let's check at NQ. You didn't quite get the same thing. But we did get a bottom with phantom script, right, for the QQQ long, and we took that. So now I think safely, safe to say we're probably going to see either a 61.8 or a 50%. All right, so I'll put us back at 14,303. All right, guys, I covered what I do want to cover. I'm not getting a whole lot of other tickers. Appreciate you guys attending. Trade safe, all right? Remind me one more time. Let's cover some charts from like last week, actually, before I call it a day. Ford's still at that like 61.8 level range from last stream. At 1750. Boom, 1745. So I'd want to see this hold. I would. I don't think it's done a complete retracement before like we flip there. I think we'll see 1970 before we see downwards continuation, at least 1903. I think Facebook would be probably the trade of the day today, especially if we get that clean bounce. There's a big gap down, right, on the daily, but intraday it really wasn't. It just happened in after hours, right, on earnings. So that looks interesting. I feel like PayPal is bearish. BABA is looking really, really optimal, right? Geez, PayPal just, it's a shitcoin now. How do you even trade this thing? Might be doing extensions. Let's keep an eye on 114, 116 zone. Doing like a bearish extension of the previous range before it turns around. Doesn't look like it wants to turn around. I'm going to stay away. BABA, we got earnings coming up next week. Right here we had, we still have some calls in here. I still have some calls in here, and they expire in a month, a little over a month. That's not what I wanted. A little over a month. All right, we saw 110 hold. We're seeing 118 hold. I think the extension plays from up here. All right, so you have an overlap with 108, 110. I want to see 129 get taken out by bulls, hopefully before earnings, and maybe start moving up to 156 before I exit or take profit. I'd hate to see this tank some more. I mean, it's already dumped so much, right? I think 154 is a safe play. All right, guys, that's all I got. Thank you all for tuning into today's stream. I kind of updated our trading with signature links. So if you want to hop into Discord, I put a link tree there so you can do like Discord, follow us on Twitter. All our links are in there. I'm probably going to add a few more, like our YouTube channel and such. But I appreciate everybody hopping in the chat and all y'all's energy. You guys have a great weekend. Trade safe, use stops. And yeah, life's too short. So have fun. Catch you.